Even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolf's bane blooms and when the autumn moon is bright. Hello everyone. Yes, I know I've been gone a while again. I'm trying not to make a habit of it, I promise. But to make up for my absence, I figure it's been a while since we've talked about a werewolf movie. So let's do that. As you can tell, today we are going to be talking about a different kind of werewolf movie compared to the ones we've looked at before. Today we're going to be looking at Wolfwalkers, an animated fairytale werewolf movie that came out in 2020. If you've never heard of Wolfwalkers before, trust me, you are not alone. I only found out about this movie myself because I always try to look up and see if there's any new werewolf movies that have come out in recent years, and Wolfwalkers did come up on that search. Yeah. So I've had my eye on this movie for a while, and the reason why it's taken so long is due to other stuff happening, and the fact that this movie is only available on Apple TV. Basically meaning that if you want to watch this movie for yourself, unfortunately, you're gonna have to have an Apple TV account, which, by the way, is $13 a month. No, I'm not joking. $13 a month for barely fucking anything. Fuck you, Apple TV. Well, okay, I'm being a bit harsh. There are good stuff on Apple TV. Hell, Wolfwalkers is a great example of that. But I'm sorry, $13 a month is fucking insanity, especially when a lot of the other streaming services out there are a lot cheaper. Luckily, I did not have to waste any money on this. Instead, I just signed up for a free trial, a 7-day free trial, and the moment I finished watching this film, I dumped this whole subscription, because, again, $13 a month is fucking ridiculous. If anything, it royally pisses me off that this fantastic film here is locked behind this fucking subscription wall. It's such a damn shame. There do exist physical copies of this film, although, unfortunately, it's not that simple. You see, the studio that made this movie actually made 2 other animated films, and apparently there's a bundle of them together called the, I believe, Folklore Collection. But even trying to find that is incredibly hard and expensive, mostly because the people that made this movie don't actually operate in the US. I believe they actually operate in Ireland. But yeah. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm covering this kind of werewolf movie. I mean, they don't even call them werewolves in this film. They call them wolfwalkers. Well, to that I say, even though it's more of a family film, still doesn't change the fact that it's a werewolf movie, and even if they call it a different name and some of the rules are different, I feel it still shares the basic concept of people turning into wolves. Plus, in order to become a wolfwalker, you need to be bitten by another wolfwalker, so I feel it counts. But yeah, enough about that though, let's actually get into talking about this movie. Wolfwalkers takes place in the 1600s, and follows a little girl named Robin. She came to a now colonized Ireland along with her father, voiced by Sean Bean. Robin wants to be a deadly hunter like her father, and one day she sneaks out of the town in order to try and hunt an animal. Instead, she ends up wind up in a trap, and a wolf tries to free her and accidentally bites her. This wolf, it turns out, isn't a regular wolf, though. It's a wolfwalker. Wolfwalkers are basically kid-friendly werewolves, we could put it. They don't transform on a full moon or anything like that. Instead, the way it works is a lot more simple. Basically, whenever a Wolfwalker falls asleep, their soul will kind of leave their body and take on the form of a wolf. Anyway, the Wolfwalker that bit Robin is another little girl named Mabe, who is currently waiting for her mother, who's also a Wolfwalker, to return to her body. And that's really all I'm going to give about the premise of this film, because that's really the basic setup. There is more, but that setup gives you an idea. One of the first things you'll notice about this film immediately is its art style, which I frickin' love. This is a really cool art style. The whole movie looks like it came right out of a children's storybook, which is fitting considering I believe the film is actually based on a children's story. Honestly, movies like this reminds me how much I miss 2D animation. Like, 3D animation isn't bad. In fact, there are a lot of 3D animated films that look fantastic. But one of the downsides about 3D animation is that because the technology keeps improving, older films start to look outdated by comparison. Just look at the original Toy Story as a great example. Groundbreaking for its time, but by today's standards, it looks incredibly rough. However, now compare that to some of the Disney films that came out during its early days, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, and Sleeping Beauty, where those films are hand-drawn and they still look gorgeous to this very day. That's simply because a pencil and paper surprisingly actually look a lot better and age a lot better compared to 3D animation. You just really don't see a lot of animated films that look like this anymore, and honestly, it's a shame that we don't really see it that much now. I personally would like it if we went more back to 2D animation. I get why we don't, though, because 3D animated stuff is a lot more popular. Oh, you want proof of this? Fun fact, this movie was actually nominated for Best Animated Film in 2020. Unfortunately, it lost to the movie Soul by Pixar, a 3D animated film. I think I've proven my point. But it's not just the animation that's great about this film. The characters in this movie are very likable. And a lot of that is thanks to the film's fantastic voice acting, especially from the little girls voicing Robin and Mabe. It's so, trying to get, a child actor is always going to be tricky, because if done wrong, they can come off as annoying or bland. But thankfully, these two do a fantastic job and give a fantastic performance. They honestly give the best performances in the film, and that's saying a lot considering Sean Bean is also a part of the cast. I also wasn't expecting the film to have some historical accuracy to it. You see, like I said, this movie takes place in the 1600s, around the time the English had colonized Ireland. So, and the movie does establish that there is some tension between the residents of Ireland and the English. Which, not gonna lie, I was not expecting that. I mean, this is mostly a fairy tale type story. It really didn't need to go into that kind of details, but they did. And it doesn't take over the story, they don't put too much focus on it, they just establish that it's here. And honestly, I like that they did that. It would have been so easy for them just to, ignore that part of history, but no, they actually do include it a small bit, and that was nice. What also makes this film so crazy to me, and so fascinating, is that this movie actually doesn't have a lot of comedy in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's lighthearted moments in the film, but there aren't like heavy comedic moments in it. This movie plays its story mostly straight, which, not gonna lie, that's a breath of fresh air. I've come across a lot of modern animated films today that that have to have jokes and a sense of humor to it, and don't get me wrong, that's fine. Hell, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was also very comedy focused, and I loved that film. But there's just something so refreshing about seeing an animated film that actually tries to focus more on telling an actual story instead of, like, forcing in a bunch of comedic moments. It really gives off this feel that the team that worked on this movie, the writers, the directors, and everybody, it shows that they really do take this story seriously and that they want you to take it seriously. And I respect that. The movie also dives into themes of fighting, of wanting freedom and not wanting to follow the status quo, which, yes, there's been a lot of animated films that have dived into those themes, but I think this movie's setting, with it taking place in the 1600s, I feel like the way they show how Robin is practically locked up in this cage because of the status quo and all that. Like, I feel like it does add a unique spin to the theme and message to it. The movie also, interestingly, shows like these two different styles of parenting between Robin's father and Mabe's mom. Robin's father, he's not a bad person, really, but he's very overprotective. He cares a lot for Robin and her safety, even saying that he promised her mother he would always keep her safe. But he doesn't realize that by constantly keeping her limited and enclosed in this town, it's actually just trapping her in a cage. But the movie doesn't paint him as the obvious villain either. You can see he's just doing this out of worry for his daughter and her safety. Despite the fact that we don't really see a lot of Mabe's mom in the film, you can tell by the way Mabe acts that Mabe's mom had raised her completely different. Mabe is wild, a bit crazy, likes to have fun, but she has this sort of independence to her. Like Mabe's mom told her, like, don't constrict yourself, but be cautious. Have fun, but stay safe. You could tell that Mabe's mom really tries to teach Mabe everything she knows, because, her mom is not going to always be there for her. So Mabe's mom making sure that she's ready. It's interesting. It's these two very different styles of parenting that you could also see how it affects both Robin and Mabe as characters. And while this movie doesn't really go into too dark territory, this story can have some dark moments, but nothing on par with, say, Hunchback of Notre Dame or Prince of Egypt or Coraline. But there's just enough of a dark edge to it to, again, make it stand out among more safer animated films nowadays. Everything in this film I really did enjoy. Honestly, with all the stress and shit that I've been dealing with recently, I needed a movie like this. I need a movie that just made me feel happy. Yeah. Is everything in the movie perfect? I don't know if I would go that far. Although there is only one major flaw I have with the film, and it's the villain. The villain of this movie is the leader of the village, as well as the soldiers. I think his name is Lord Protector. And he's not an awful villain. He gets the job done. but he is pretty simplistic. He wants all the wolves gone because he sees them as a nuisance, and that's really about it. They do try to establish that he also is a religious man, but they don't even really go that far with it. You see, especially compared to, like, say, another religious animated villain, Judge Claude Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame. What made Frollo such a great villain wasn't just the fact that he was religious, but the fact that he used religion as an excuse to do the heinous things he did. Like, the things Frollo does in Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame is literally straight up fucking evil. Like, imagine, like, a majority of awful things that people can do with power, and Frollo did them. But the fact that Frollo believed that everything he was doing was for the greater good, it was God's will and everything, it added a complexity to him that also is kind of eerie, because we actually have met people like that in real life, even to this day. Lord Protector, however, doesn't really have any depth like that. He's just really a generic bad guy, honestly. Compared to, like, the rest of the other characters, I feel like they could have maybe done a little bit more with this guy. He's not awful, but he is simplistic, and I would have liked to have seen them do more with him. But that's really about it for flaws. Everything else in this movie is fucking amazing. The voice acting is fantastic, the animation is friggin' beautiful, the characters are extremely likable, it has good themes and ideas, and it executes them well. This movie was just a wonderful, beautiful film to watch. Again, I really needed this after all the shit I've been through lately. Wolfwalkers absolutely gets an A+. It may not have a lot of the grittiness you expect of a typical werewolf movie, but this is still a must watch. Really go check this film out and see it for yourself. Just don't get an Apple TV subscription. Get the free trial, okay? That price is not worth it, okay? So, Wolfwalkers, have you guys seen it? What do you think of it? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like what you see here, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Man, you know, it's so good just to talk about a really good movie after such the shitty month I've had. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good. I wonder what movie I'm going to review next. Oh, fuck. See you guys next time.